International Court of Justice (ICJ) has ordered Israel government to set up measures to prevent acts of genocide in the Gaza Strip of Palestine, where the country is currently battling with Hamas fighters. The International Court of Justice on Friday, in a unanimous judgment, ordered Israel to do more to prevent the killing and harm of civilians in Gaza, but did not call for a ceasefire, which many people had hoped the court would endorse for immediate end to the violence. At the Hague's Peace Palace, the court's president, Joan Donoghue, read out the court's order, ruling that the ICJ has jurisdiction in the case brought by South Africa and arguing that there is an urgent need for measures because of the plausibility of genocide. The court called on Israel to prevent the possibility of genocide, including by allowing more aid and punishing comments from officials and soldiers that amount to incitement. International Court of Justice President Joan Donoghue says the court feels it is necessary for it to indicate certain measures in order to protect the rights claimed by South Africa. The ICJ also ordered Israel to allow humanitarian access in Gaza. The court rules that Israel must take immediate and effective measures to enable the provision of urgently needed basic services and humanitarian assistance to address the adverse conditions of life faced by Palestinians. The ICJ also ruled that Israel should take effective measures to prevent the destruction and ensure the preservation of evidence relating to acts of genocide. It would be recalled that South government in December 2023 approached the International Court of Justice, alleging acts of genocide committed by Israeli soldiers in the Gaza Strip of Palestine. On October 7, 2023, a group of Palestinian fighters, known as Hamas, invaded southern Israel, killing and injuring thousands of people, including soldiers. Hundreds of persons were also kidnapped by the Hamas fighters. In retaliation, Israel launched both air and ground invasion into the Gaza Strip, killing more than 24,000 people in the Palestine city of northern Gaza, and vowed to continue the war until the entire Hamas fighters are killed, despite pressure and call for ceasefire by the international community.
Africa. I recall that on 29 December 2023, South Africa filed in the registry of the court an application instituting proceedings against Israel concerning alleged violations in the Gaza Strip of obligations under the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, to which I shall refer as the Genocide Convention or the Convention. The application of South Africa contained a request for the indication of provisional measures submitted with reference to Article 41 of the statute and to Articles 73, 74, and 75 of the Rules of Court. In accordance with the usual practice, I shall not read the introductory paragraphs of the order which set out the procedural history of the case. I shall also omit or summarize some other paragraphs. I shall therefore begin the reading of the order at paragraph 13. In the order, the Court begins by recalling the immediate context in which the present case came before it. It observes that on 7 October 2023, Hamas and other armed groups present in the Gaza Strip carried out an attack in Israel, killing more than 1,200 persons, injuring thousands, and abducting some 240 people, many of whom continue to be held hostage. Following this attack, Israel launched a large-scale military operation in Gaza by land, air, and sea, which is causing massive civilian casualties, extensive destruction of civilian infrastructure, and the displacement of the overwhelming majority of the population in Gaza. The Court is acutely aware of the extent of the human tragedy that is unfolding in the region and is deeply concerned about the continuing loss of life and human suffering. The ongoing conflict in Gaza has been addressed in the framework of several organs and specialized agencies of the United Nations. In particular, reservations have been adopted by the General Assembly and the Security Council of the United Nations, referring to many aspects of the conflict. The scope of the present case submitted to the Court, however, is limited, as South Africa has instituted these proceedings under the Genocide Convention. The Court then turns to the conditions needed to be fulfilled in order for it to indicate provisional measures. With respect to the question of prima facie jurisdiction, the Court observes that it may indicate provisional measures only if the provisions relied on by the applicant appear prima facie to afford a basis on which its jurisdiction could be founded, but it need not satisfy itself in a definitive manner that it has jurisdiction as regards the merits of the case. In the present case, South Africa seeks to found the jurisdiction of the court on Article 36, Paragraph 1 of the Statute of the Court and on Article 9 of the Genocide Convention. The court must therefore first determine whether those provisions prima facie confer upon it jurisdiction to rule on the merits of the case, enabling it, if the other necessary conditions are fulfilled, to indicate provisional measures. Article 9 of the Genocide Convention provides, I quote, "Disputes between the contracting parties relating to the interpretation, application, or fulfillment of the present convention, including those relating to the responsibility of a state for genocide or for any of the other acts enumerated in Article 3, shall be submitted to the International Court of Justice at the request of any of the parties to the dispute." End of quote. South Africa and Israel are both parties to the Genocide Convention, and neither of them has entered a reservation to Article 9 or any other provision of the Convention. The Court then recalls that Article 9 of the Genocide Convention makes its jurisdiction conditional on the existence of a dispute relating to the interpretation, application, or fulfillment of the Convention. A dispute is a disagreement. The State of Israel shall take all measures within its power to prevent and punish the direct and public incitement to commit genocide in relation to members of the Palestinian group in the Gaza Strip. The State of Israel shall take immediate and effective measures to ensure the provision of urgently needed basic services and humanitarian assistance to address the adverse conditions of life faced by Palestinians in the Gaza Strip.